Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Decoupaging with Michelle. Remember, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm just going to take some time, and I have 3 jars that I'm going to work on right now, and super excited about these. So some of them are upcycled jars, some of them are ones I recently found at an estate sale. I bought about the estate sale. I got about like 200 jars. That's a lot of jars. So I do can. Canning season is falling upon us, but I certainly don't need 200 jars, and I have my stock of those. So I decided to use some of those jars to decoupage on. So I'll start with that one. So this is one of those that I found, and it's just a ball mason jar. Now this is an older one. I'm gonna take I put my napkins in there. This is an older one. This is really kind of cool because it has the lines around it. So I chose this really one of my favorite designs to do, and it's a Volkswagen van. And the napkin had this was like on a flag way over on the side, and I always, when I do this design, I always cut that up, and I kind of make the banner like life is an adventure, and then I'll do like enjoy the ride, and then I'll put this here, so it'll look something like that. So we're going to start with the little bug here. I just think he is so cute. I do put it down a little bit more because I'm going to put those banners at the top. Let me make sure that this is, it looks like, it don't quite look like it's centered here. Got to make sure that VW's in the middle. There, I think that looks pretty good, you guys. Pretty happy with that. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to hold that sucker in place and bring my Mod Podge up here. And I'm just using the Mod Podge. I'm using the gloss today. Typically I use the matte, but I happen to be out of it. And I just haven't went to Hobby Lobby to get any more yet. So I'm using what I have. It does, and to me it doesn't matter whether it's matte or gloss, because I seal it with stuff called DuraClear, and I use the satin on that, so they all have the same finish no matter what Mod Podge I use. So I went ahead and put my Mod Podge on. Didn't put a lot on, just made it tacky. Gonna lay this over here, and I go up and I go down, and I just kind of go over, and it has a little light. I want to make sure I get that light on there. And then I'm gonna flip this over, put a little bit more Mod Podge on there, pull this back. Oops, I'm gonna fight with it. A little bit of Mod Podge, and this will go right over. Back and forth, back and forth. Light on there. Look at that. How stinking cute is that? Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get this on here. So I'm going to do life is an adventure. I'm going to kind of, oops, some dried Mod Podge there. So I'm going to lay this down here a little bit. I might put that up a little bit there. I think I want this over that. All right. So I kind of like where that's at. And there is some Mod Podge under there already. So I'm going to make sure I like. So we're going to enjoy the ride, and then we're going to put life as an adventure up here. There. What do you guys think? I think I like that. But I want to make sure I don't. Sometimes with these curves, and I don't want it to cover any words up. There we go. Put a little bit more Mod Podge here. Not quite enough on there. There we go. That turned out really cool. So I get my saran wrap, my plastic wrap, and I just put it over this, and I'm just going to go ahead and, oops, I got some Mod Podge on my finger there. Just go around, rub the edges. I want to make sure that I get all those edges on really, really tight here. And I'm going to, there we go. You guys, look at that. Life is an adventure, enjoy the ride. I think, excuse me, I think I have a really cool black, a black, I think, ribbon I'm going to put on the top of that. That turned out pretty cool. So I got 2 more here to do. This is an upcycled, I think this was a spaghetti jar or a pasta jar. And so I'm actually going to do this really cool dream catcher. I had to have a real tall, narrow one. I didn't want to, I was going to edge this, you know, do the soft edging. And I decided to not to. I'm just going to leave it square. But this is a pretty, it's a full-size napkin, so there's some challenges with that. The great thing is it's round, so I don't have to worry about centering it. I just have to make sure it's going up and down. It's always, you know, it doesn't have to be centered to the jar because there are no edges. So I'm going to go ahead and, I think that looks good. Flip this over, and I'm really going to put some Mod Podge on this. So this is, you know, I love crafting. Decoupaging is incredibly calming for me. And it's rewarding at the end of the day when you have something tangible in front of you that you've accomplished. So this is my go-to anything decoupage. I do jars. Excuse me, I don't know why that's something in my throat. Do a lot of jars, and I like to upcycle. That's my big thing. I try to keep things out of the landfill the best we can. But I decoupage all kinds of things. I started doing some rocks, really kind of cool little rocks. Just found some really cool little designs that I'm able to use. So that's been great. Now, notice this napkin actually has a tear in it, so I'm going to be a little bit mindful as I attach that, so that there's not a gap where that tear is, which is completely doable. So just going to go back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to get this part here that's still attached. And then, look at that. Perfect. I need a little bit more Mod Podge. I don't put a lot on the outside of it, but I do need enough for it to adhere and stick a little bit on the napkin. So up here, so I think I'm off camera a little bit, because it was a square napkin on the round edge, I have to make sure that I get the creases out, which I think looks pretty good. All right, you guys. I'm pretty happy with that. I think with some really cool dried, some natural dried flowers, darker, maybe some blues, that's would be really cool. So I'm just going to go on the outside of this and the bottom of this really well, because that really went around the edge of that. And then all the way, I want to make sure these edges are on here really well. And go on the top. Oops, kind of gently pull this off. Okay, looks pretty good. I have a little bit of a, for whatever reason, it stuck a little bit there. So that works pretty good. So look at that, you guys. What best way to upcycle a spaghetti jar? Look at that. That is so cool. So I live in the Midwest, and we have a lot of Native Americans, a lot of tribal areas and tribal land. So dream catchers have a special place where in the area that I live. Okay, final jar here. I'm just going to do 3. Again, apparently I eat a lot of spaghetti. This is the theme I'm going for, but this is also a spaghetti. Oops, this is also a spaghetti jar. Going into the fall season and Halloween, and this is a napkin. I actually got that pack of napkins from, I believe, the Christmas tree store, which sadly is closing. And it had black all around it, so I just cut the skull out, and it makes a really, really cool design. Look at that. And I think usually what I do is I have this really cool purple, that medium purple ribbon, and it has like a little bit of like a tuft to it or a ripple, and it looks really cool. cool on this jar, so that's probably what I use. So I think that looks good. It's a round jar. I only have to make sure it's centered up and down and not in the center of the jar itself. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna do this. So you guys, if you guys are, you know, decoupage or do any crafting, I'd love to see what you guys do. We all have our different ways of self-care and the things we enjoy, and there's just some really incredibly talented people out there. So I always love to see what people are making. So if ever you want to share, love to see what you guys got going on. Just gonna put this on here. Okay, this was a pretty easy peasy one. Or as my 5-year-old niece would say, easy peasy, nice and squeezy. So I'm just gonna do go around the edges in this one again and pull that off, and voila, you guys. That turned out really cool. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you see. Again, if you have some craft designs that you have been doing and would like to share them, please share. We'd love to see it. You can find me. I have a Facebook page called Glass Designs by Michelle. Would love for you to follow me. If you like what you're seeing on this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Have a great one.